Today we're being joined by the newest Peel Thunder WAFLW recruit, Zoe Bailey. Zoe, thanks for coming on.
No, of course.
So tell us a bit about yourself, what got you into footy and what type of player you are.
So I started playing footy when I was like 8 or 9. A couple of the girls we started playing at the club because of their officers. And I was playing basketball very heavily back then, so Dad didn't want me playing footy because I was, not that I've grown, I'm still pretty short, but I was very small when I was younger, so my dad didn't want me to get injured. But I was like, one training session, fine, and then went down to the training, had heaps of fun, and they had a game on that Sunday, and I was like, just one game, and then played that first game, and I played full forward pocket, much just cherry all day and 7 goals, and my okay, I'll let you play for this season, and pretty much the rest is history. So it's been more than 11 years now, I think.
Very good. So what type of play would you best describe yourself as, the type of play you play like?
I definitely towards someone like Aflw, who's like an in and under midfielder, and then also trying last year or two to try a little bit like Conti, who's got that speed out of the centre, able to have those cleaner skills, doesn't necessarily go into the pack, but has that extra outlet that's able to then push forward. But yeah, definitely a midfielder forward kind of play.
That's good. So now, obviously, it's obviously something that always you would have to ponder. Obviously, last year being on the KC Demons list in Victoria, then now making the big trip down west. Was that a hard decision to make, or were you convinced in another way? How was that process and thought process about moving?
Yeah, so I had a pretty tough year last year down at KC. The experience I had was awesome. It was a really lovely there. I was just unfortunately struck with injuries, and that set me back a little bit with my in terms of breaking the team. The main reason for the move was for my partner. He's in the Navy, so we moved his work. But I actually had surgery on my calves at the end of last year for compartment syndrome. It was, for me, I'm not sure if I was going to or not with him, because I have this new opportunity, new legs, kind of opportunity to build and break the KC team. But speaking to a friend from KC who was West, she gave me a couple of contacts for over here, and speaking to the coaches and stuff and getting in contact with a couple of the girls really kind of made me understand that there is still like a really good level of football over here, and coming over here, it's like blown me away about like the progress that the league and also AFL in general has over here. And yeah, once I came down to a couple of training sessions at Peel, it was no question, and I'm more than happy and really enjoying it so.
That's good. So now, obviously, you played in the All-Stars first under-18s match last year. You're only 19 yourself. So what was it like playing with some older players? There's a few ex-AFLW players that played in that game with you as well. How was it like to play that and play against girls that you're only a year or two older than?
Yeah, I definitely give credit to those younger girls because they're absolutely insane. Really, really good team, the under-18s. I was thrown in the deep end a little bit, backline, and as I said before, I'm a mid forward, so it's very different for me for a lot of the game, but it was heaps of fun. I got to meet a whole bunch of new people and network, which for me, being in a new state, is very important, making new friends. But yeah, the whole game was such a vibe, and meeting all the new people, and definitely yeah, it was a really good experience.
That's good. And what's funny enough is, too, you're playing against some of those brand new teammates you're playing with. Holly Britton comes to mind as well. How was it like playing against Holly, who's someone who you'll be playing alongside throughout the majority of the year?
Yeah, it was good. It was her birthday on Saturday night, so I went up. I think she got one of the early marks in the game, and I went and stood on the mark. And then as she kicked it and ran off, I was like, "Oh, happy birthday!" Gave her a bit of a tap. But it was good to play against the girls as well, because obviously I've played the Pracky match deal with Claremont without those girls on the team, and we've been training without them because they've been in the state. But even last night, having them back down at training. It allows a kind of like a pickup group, which is
It's good. How do you feel you fared yourself personally in that match? Obviously, the team obviously lost by a couple of goals, but how did you feel you went?
As I said before, I played in the back line, so it was a bit different for me. I've learned growing up, back line to me is like the player, don't let them go. So I felt like I wasn't able to attack them as much as I was in the forward bids. But I was happy with the couple of disposals I got. I made a couple of mistakes, but I also think I put pressure on myself that game. But yeah, I think I did all right. Happy with the performance.
That's good. So obviously, in that game, who do you feel impressed you in either side that you thought had a really good game and then setting himself either for a good WAFLW season or potentially an AFLW season at the end in the draft at the end of the year?
Yeah, definitely. So from obviously the under 18 side, and to be able to play with her at Peel this year is going to be really exciting. She took a couple of hangers, which I was very fortunate not to be underneath. But yeah, that was really, really cool. And then definitely I've stuff up the name stuff, so I'm trying to pinpoint anyone too impressively, but there were definitely girls on the waffle side that like looking to post game and stuff. I was like I'm excited but also very nervous to verse comes in season. I know a lot of us are midfielders or forwards. So partnering up on each other will be interesting. But also definitely Hunter. She was playing the WAFLW side and we actually worked together. Afternoon, so she created so many spoils throughout the game, and it's definitely going to be something that we're going to be a us still going into our line if she's in the back line for South Freo.
Yeah, that's good. So obviously in your junior career, you won a fair few best and fairest. What was it like in your junior days to just rack up a few BNFs at club and league level as well and captaincy? That just to the trifecta. You got the teams going well, you win the club BNF, and then just winning your league BNF as well at the same time.
Yeah, so I think pretty lucky when I was in juniors. From my first year playing, so I was like 8 or 9, all the way to 12, up to like 14. Or even I played fine every season. My team was pretty successful.
Okay.
I was pretty lucky to be able to wear the captain badge for 3 or 4 in a row, which was cool. I definitely like being that leader in the group, and I've got a pretty loud voice when we're on the ground, so I tend to think that I'm able to help the other, especially younger ones in the team. And yeah, I was like really cool. I was able to pick up those accolades throughout the and I definitely out of the individual performance will come out. The captain is something that I've like learned from and take forward, not in footy but in day-to-day as well.
So obviously, Zoe, we're just talking about all those premierships, best and fairest and that. Is there any that come to mind that really stick out the most where you feel like that was your best season of the lot?
It's actually funny. It probably throws me back to like under 12s, which is a fair while ago now. But I got to play a team where playing together for like 3 years. We'd lost grand finals for that. I was age under 12 at that point, and going into it, and I was lucky enough to play with my sister as well. So, and I was captain of the game as well. We played against our rivals of Eltham. Won the granny. I got best on for the day, and then I got to celebrate with my family and obviously my sister being in the team as well, which really capped my under 12 kind of age group, and then going forward from that. And I know that was a while ago, but it was definitely like all-encompassing game that I've played.
So obviously then in 2022, at a senior Division 1 grand final win, that must have also been pretty cool and much more recent.
Yeah, so that was really cool. So I was actually fortunate enough to make that team. So what happened was I was the captain of the under-18s for the whole home and away season. I debuted early in the seniors season and played 4 or 5 games for the Div 1 girls, but still obviously captaining the 18s at the time. So I played all the way through with the 18s until we made it through the prelim, but fell short for final. And the women made it all the way through because I'd played enough games, I was able to qualify. So I really put it out on the track, really trained my ass off, and was lucky enough to get a shot in the premiership side. And we were against our arch rivals of Darebin. So I come from Diamond Creek Women's. So our history between those two clubs goes way, way back. So really, really good to be able to come out on the ground and play with who are the girls who some of them are still really, really good friends of mine, and be able to come out and play a premiership post, not necessarily being in the team, but still part of the club, and able to step up from the 18s as the captain and show that pathway was available to those younger girls as well.
That's good. That's very true. And I mean, like you said before, of all the success the teams that you've been in have had, and individually as well, must be pretty nice continuously winning every year, or at least making finals or thereabouts every single time.
Yeah, I know that some people play for their whole careers and don't either make a grand final or are really unlucky and lose a couple in a row. I have been fortunate enough. Both me and my sister have played in a fair few grand finals and won a fair few of them as well, which has been really good. But yeah, definitely don't take it for granted either, because I know people who have played for years and never been able to make that achievement with a team. So it's definitely something that I don't take for granted.
Sure. Now, obviously, what are some goals you set for yourself this year? Obviously, as you said, with some injuries last year at Casey, then now making the big move. What are some goals you set yourself for this year, playing at Peel?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, I just want to be able to play a good level of high level of football, and be able to play consistently at that level as well. I don't want to be kind of up and down. I want to be able to play week in, week out, really represent the club what it is, because it's an awesome club to be playing for. And I'm really looking forward to being able to wear the polo and wear the colours proudly. Definitely a goal for myself in terms of gameplay is being more fierce in the contact, breaking through the lines, and making sure that I'm hitting my targets and allowing our forwards to play from that.
That's good. So obviously you said you're playing in the midfield and then up forward sometimes. So what would you say some of your biggest strengths as a footballer?
Definitely getting in and under on the ground balls. So making sure that I'm first to the ball, get my fingers into the grass, get the ball out to my teammates. Probably last year I worked a lot more on my finishing around goal, being put in the forward line for Casey. So working on that a little bit more from more of a leading role through the mids into the forwards than just a standstill mark and kick. Are two very important things I think in my.
Very good. So obviously AFLW, only 19 years of age. So as AFLW, I'm sure is still a dream of yours and something you would want to play. Hence why part of the reason why you make a move to try and up that level up as well and get that consistency as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's still up there, big dream. I think if you ask anyone that's playing at WAFLW level or VFL level or that state level, it's all our dream, obviously, to make it level. And I think a really cool opportunity if it came. But at the end of the day, as long as I'm playing consistent footy and I'm enjoying it, that's really what I'm looking for at the moment.
Very true. Who did you grow up barracking for?
Grew up barracking for Richmond.
Richmond. How do you feel that the Tigers went in both the men's and women's last year? Obviously, both missing on finals.
Yeah, the girls have definitely been building over the last couple of years, and I think last year was a to the bringing in next year or two, they might be able to accommodate that a little bit more going forward. Obviously, men's is what I've grown up watching. We had our grand finals, I'll say that, and we're rebuilding at the moment. As my dad said when he married Mum, as long as we make a grand final, then his vows are true. He made the 3, so happy with that.
Very true. Of some draftees, obviously you would know some people that have been drafted or are currently at AFLW level. So who's some people that you're excited to see how they will go this year, or who are currently in the system already or have been for more than a year, to see how they continue further progress?
Yeah, so I actually played local footy with Heidi Woodley, she's down at the Bulldogs now. And watching her the last couple of years has been really, really cool. Plumber, when she's able to get out to the ground and show her skills off, it's been really cool to watch like close friends be able to make that move. But I am really excited to see Caitlin play. Caitlin's just been drafted from Peel over to WS, and I was lucky enough to get to meet her over the last couple of training sessions before she made the move. And she's such a lovely girl, and I can't wait to see how she goes with her.
Sure, yeah, Caitlin, obviously I've had on before as well. She's a ripper and obviously will be a good player, and GWS got a good one with one of their top picks as well. Now, favourite teammates you got? I know you're obviously new to the club, but if you got to be able to build a special bond with any new teammates so far?
Yeah, well, I've been lucky enough that coming to the club, I'm not the only Victorian in the team.
Okay.
Keely Hare is the other Victorian that came over. We joined at the same time. It's been really good to get to know her a bit more, and she's going to be an absolute asset in our ruck. With her hair really clean overhead. Another player who I definitely closer with would be, I'm going to stuff up, I'm not even going to but Ava and then Riley Fisher as well. So both really good in and under players, and both really finishing around the goals, and definitely players that I'm aiming to change my craft a bit to meet with them.
Very true. Any nicknames you got at the club that you like or dislike?
No, not really. I kind of grew up, it's a bit random, but instead of just being called Zoe, I would get Zoe Bailey instead of just like a short of my name. So that's been thrown around the club a little bit. Bales as well, every now and then. But yeah, nothing too bad that's stuck yet, luckily.
That's good, because you can't really shorten Zoe much more.
Nah, not really.
That's why you go to the last name. So obviously been in the club for a little bit of time now and had some practice matches, as you mentioned before. Any people that you feel is like kind of lingered towards the coach a little bit for like a coach's pet?
Oh, no, not that I can think of. I would say that we're really lucky having our coach, though, because he's what I would call a mother figure to everyone. Definitely looks after everyone. I was lucky enough, like he's been checking in on me every now and then, making sure everything's going pretty smoothly. But no one's too much of a suck up.
That's fair enough. And it's good to see that, that, I mean, I'm sure all coaches and that do, but it's good to see that, they're checking in how you are, because, obviously coming into a new team can be very daunting, I suppose, not really knowing anyone beforehand, and to kind of help you make you fit in better. I'm sure, as you said, I'd appreciate that, to help you fit in and feel more one of them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. The girls have really made me feel a part of the team, and a couple of them have even helped me out with getting work and stuff, which has been really good. And definitely up money on the side, which is definitely helpful.
That's good. Any outside of footy interests that you have?
Yeah, when I was in Melbourne, I was at a boxing gym just to keep up like my fitness in the off season, and then I really kind of fell in love with it. Down at Shadows Boxing Gym in Eltham. Unfortunately, with the move, I've only been here just over a month now. So by setting up all the IKEA furniture in our house, I haven't had too much time to be able to find a new gym around here yet. But that's definitely something I'm keen on finding. Yeah, really enjoy boxing, and then also just being able to go to the gym like outside of football and work myself both mentally and physically, which is really good.
That's good. Any favorite TV shows or movies?
Oh, I really enjoy Prison Break. I don't know if that's on like streaming platforms anymore, but I used to watch that on Netflix. Really good show. I don't really have a favorite movie. I just pretty much watch anything that's put on.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm a bit like that with movies. I don't really watch any, and none that jump straight out at me too. What do you feel is the best individual game at any level you've ever played that's got you into the position where you're in now?
Oh, that's a good question. I definitely think that probably last year, I reckon, when I debuted for the seniors team, it was 18's cap that year in 22. I run through the field a little bit, but I definitely was put in the forward line to kind of just mingle with the girls and stuff. I kicked a couple of goals that game and was able to create what I think was a pretty good impact. I was really lucky enough that my coach at the time, someone that was really good at giving criticism and also feedback at the same time. So I'm someone that I've really learned and still talk to this day to understand the game a little bit more. But yeah, definitely that game, I think I was able to show kind of how I play. That's where I was like, oh yeah, maybe I do want to take this a little bit serious.
What would you feel is the best goal you've ever kicked?
Best goal I've ever kicked. Last year, lucky enough that I convinced one of my best friends to start playing footy. So she's avid runner. She can run for like 19Ks, and she was like, oh yeah, I just went for a little jog. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I got her into footy last year, and she ended up coming down to the club. And with her fitness, she was able to make the firsts, which was pretty cool. Though not the best kick, it was definitely a good winger. So what happened was the ball kind of got taken down on the left-hand side. She got probably like 45 near the 50 line. And I knew she was going to be able to kick the distance. So I kind of ran side. I was like, yeah, handball, kicked the goal. And there's a really, really good photo that one of the mums took is us celebrating, and I like jumped up on top of her, and it was probably one of the best goal celebrations I've had in a long time.
That's good. It was actually, funnily enough, the next question was going to be about goal celebrations. Outside of that one, are you a goal celebrator? And if so, what type of celebrations do you bring? Is there any particular ones you do? Do you change it up? Is there some you got in the back pocket right now for this year? How are you with them?
I'm not too big a goal celebrator. It's normally just like a one finger up in the air. Obviously, like that's a pretty standard celebration for most people, but it's not just like, yeah, I got it kind of thing. It's also, I'm like, unfortunately, I've lost all my grandparents. So it's also like giving an ode to them to show them that like I'm here and show how I'm playing as well.
That's very good. Now, this can be as unrealistic as you want here. If you would be able to best describe the best goal you would want to do, whether that's a check side, a torp after the siren, 50+ minutes out, how would you best describe your best goal that you would want to do? Can be as realistic as unrealistic as you want.
Oh, probably a banana from the sidelines with a backflip for celebration.
I love that. That's a good one. Not only just the goal itself, the celebration, but put an extra bit of it on it as well. Now, I'm not sure if you ever heard of it or seen a clip. It was in the cricket for West Indies. They played Australia in a test match. This one was probably 4 weeks ago now. This guy named Kevin Sinclair for the West Indies, he made his debut. He got his first test wicket. He got the wicket, and I can't remember who the batter was, but I think it was one of Australia's better batters. Anyway, he did a celebration where apparently he's known for celebrating. So I was hoping he'd get a wicket, and he did. And he did like a triple backflip. He ran part of the field and then started doing 3 flips. Do you think you'd be able to do anything like that?
I can probably do like a handstand or a cartwheel, but nothing that impressive, that's for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't. Well, apparently he does that regularly. So I wonder how he hasn't broken his neck yet. And he's doing it at a real quick speed too. He's not slowing up or anything.
Might have to get into gymnastics and start practicing.
Yeah, if cricket doesn't work for him, he can go into that. So who do you feel the best player in the AFLW competition is? Because obviously, really honestly, at least I think this is so even. You know, you got Mon Conti, obviously your fellow Tiger person. Obviously Jazz Garner, Ash Riddell, Ebony Marinoff, Laura Garner, Ali Morfitt. There's so many names just rolling on the top of the tongue, which probably shows how even it truly is. There's no clear standout. But who do you feel it is?
Yeah, as I said before, I do think that Ash Riddell is a little bit underrated.
Yep.
I was lucky enough that I got to grow up with her in my life. So I played rep basketball when I was at a young age. And she was actually my coach when I was in under 12.
Nice.
So, and she was very committed to basketball at the time. So, and I would be in the morning and then I'd have basketball training in the afternoon. So that I'd come straight to training in like my footy uniform and then like basketball training in the afternoon on Sunday. And I like to think that I was the reason she started footy. I probably wasn't. But yeah, she played I think 1 or 2 seasons down at my local club at Diamond Creek. In the top side, we had the VFLW time. She was unlucky on the draft initially and then was able to get picked up by the Roos and has absolutely increased her performance over the years. And I definitely think she's underrated and should be winning a bit in the next couple of years.
And you're right, she is underrated. I know people talking about Jazz Garner all the time being their best player. I mean, they're both really good. You couldn't go wrong really either way. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned Riddell too, not just because you knew her, because she is underrated to a degree because she's never talked about publicly as much as any of those other names that I just mentioned, and probably deserves a bit more recognition for what she does. And Jenna Bruton, another one of the Roos girls, who is ranked number 3 at the club, but if she was at most at the club, she could be number 1 as well. But that's just an opinion. So if you could poach any player or players from another club to join Peel, who would you want and why?
Oh, that's a hard question because I don't know too many players in the WAFLW yet.
Realistic. It could be someone from the VFL that you just left with Casey or someone that you played at some other level with. Who would you want?
I would probably say Amber Canane. So Amber, well, she played at Casey as well last year, and she's an absolute jet. She's actually at East Freo now. We played with each other in the All-Star game. Yeah. If I could poach anyone, it would definitely be her.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Now, who loves the limelight, the attention, the camera at any of the teams you've ever been a part of, and why?
Oh, that's a good question. I definitely think the Bilsich sisters down at Peel aren't afraid of the camera, aren't afraid of a little boogie in front of the camera as well. We had our team camp a couple of weekends ago, and they got up and did 2 dance performances in front of the whole group, which I thought was a very fair effort. So yeah, I definitely Holly and for that one.
Very interesting. Have you got any? Speaking of dancing, this could fit under, it might not. Have you got any hidden talents?
Oh, not that I can think of. Nothing that's really out of the ordinary. I've got 2 different sized thumbs, but I wouldn't say that's a secret talent. Just random.
That's fair. And some fun, since we're on the topic, fun facts. What are some fun facts about you that people may not know?
So a couple of fun facts is I grew up in a little suburb called Research, which actually does exist. It's near Eltham, so it's like northeast suburbs of Melbourne. And yeah, I'm lucky enough growing up that I was able to learn how to like ski and wakeboard behind a boat. also ski and snowboard up at snow, which is pretty cool.
That's good. Well, if you do your research on research, you will know research exists.
Correct.
Attempted lame joke at humour then. Hopefully someone find that funny. If you were stuck on a deserted island with teammates or any former teammates, who would you want to bring and not want to bring?
Oh, that's hard. Former team. I think someone that I would bring would be Marla Neal. She was down at Casey last year. Marla is an amazing cook, so I feel like she'd be able to cook us any food. And also very salvageable. She put stuff together and it's just like, I think she'd be pretty good to have on the island. Also a bit of a hoot, be a good laugh.
Yeah.
Would I not want to bring? I don't know. I feel like I've been around a lot of people that have only supported me. I don't feel like I've been around too many people that have brought me down. So, yeah, I don't know who to put on for that one.
No, that's fair enough. And sometimes, if there's no one to put there, there's no one to put there. You have to put someone there just for the sake of it. Obviously, now, other sports that you played, obviously, you mentioned playing basketball. How were you at basketball? And outside of footy and basketball, was there also any other sports that you played?
Yeah, so as said before, I'm not that tall in stature, only measuring up at a 1-1. So when I was younger, I used to play basketball, played rec all over the years. Realized I was tall enough to go further with it, and also footy overtook. So that's why I ended up dropping basketball. I also played a lot of volleyball when I was in school. Once again, enough for it. I could spike over the net. I will tell you that. I was not a bad spike. But really enjoyed volleyball. Filled in for a couple of netball teams.
Yeah.
And helped out with other sports. But pretty much any sport you've named, I've trained or played in terms of like either school or just fun kind of thing as well.
That's good. To play a lot of sports, even if it's through just schooling and everything like that. So since you mentioned you played a lot of sports, I'm going to take a wild guess. Was cricket one of them?
Only a little bit, not too much cricket though.
Fair enough. Would you consider yourself a batter, a bowler, a fielder, a scorer, a bench warmer in cricket? What would you put your spot on all round?
I wouldn't say that my bowling's on point. I can't bowl a ball straight to save my life, so I'd probably put myself down as a batter.
Okay, fair enough. Now, where was I? What's something someone does at any of the clubs you've ever been a part of that you can't stand, whether that's scaring people, leaving rubbish around, just being flat out annoying? Is there anything that comes to mind?
The only thing, not in person in general, just in general.
Yep.
The only thing I can't stand is when people like don't help out the coaches and the staff. Those people give up so much time to allow us to be able to play on the ground and to allow us to be able to be at our top performance. So not running past and not picking up cones or bibs, not helping with the gear post training or helping out or asking to help out with stuff. That is a big pet peeve of mine, making sure just you're helping out around the club. Those people give up a lot more time than I think they do. It's not just when you see them face. So making sure that you're supporting the ones who support. If a pet peeve of mine.
That's a really good one. Not one I've really heard. And when I think about it now that you mention it, that is probably something very true that I even see it at cricket or when I used to play footy, it's the same thing. You hardly see anyone contribute all the time anyway. Mark or goal of the year, which one would you rather do and why?
I'd love a mark of the year because I normally don't get up for a mark. I'm normally the one on the ground. But I think a goal is a little bit more realistic.
Fair enough. Goal, I mean, this question, every time I ask, it's always 50-50. But I always lean to goal purely because when I did play, I was a forward and I loved goal celebrations and giving it to the crowd. And how are you with crowd hecklers? Did you ever have any?
Oh, once again, when I was in under 12s, there was a couple of parents, another team that weren't too happy with my performance, and I'm not a scrappy player or anything. But their daughter didn't get along, and I had a up the side dad yelling at me like, "Number 24, you're a stuck up little bitch. You think you're better than you are, blah 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 blah." And I was like 12 years old, or 12 or 14, and I remember over, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" And then his daughter came out of nowhere and like tackled me, and then I like stood up and she like clapped in my face, and I was like, "Oh, okay, like this a little bit intense."
Yeah.
But I pretty much just like shrugged it off my shoulder, and like if he wants to perform like that, is that really what you want in football? But yeah, I don't try and let the outside noise get to me too much.
That's interesting. And at least you could I don't know who it is. You don't have to name them, of course, even if you know who they are. But at least you're at the level you are, and they're probably dwindling away in local footy or giving it up already.
Yeah, correct.
Now, some of your most prized possessions.
Oh, I definitely have to say my car.
Yeah.
I drive a Mitsubishi Pajero. So big full drive. Definitely needs a bit of work to it. But I'm planning on saving up more money this year and putting some drawers and a bed back so I can go camping and stuff a little bit more. So I don't have to be swag out every time. And not technically my possession, but my family dog. She's pretty special to me. She's getting on in the year now. She's 14, so fingers crossed it lasts a little bit longer. But yeah, my prize possession closer to my heart.
That's very good. Would a phone also be one? Because you're only 19 and I'm at a similar age to you. So people that say they can't live with their phone at our ages is probably lying.
Yes, my phone does have a lot of stuff. It's got my bank card, how I communicate, especially with all my friends at home and my family. It definitely does play a big part in my life. But I also go a day or two without it. Like I'm not, as long as I listen to music in some sort of way, I'm more than happy to not check my phone. Especially when I'm with people, I tend to put it down and I'll be hard to contact. I'm in the car, and then I'm way more of a caller than a texter.
No, that's fair enough. Have you ever had any AFL or AFLW player interactions as a fan? If so, were they memorable or were they some forgettable moments?
No, definitely memorable. So when I was 14 or 15, I was in a Carlton program, and I had Matt, Taylor Harris and Bree Davey were the three coaches for that, which was really cool, and the girls were really like keen to get around us all. They were so nice, and then I was lucky enough to reconnect with Maddie in 2022, where I did Carlton College, which is like a uni kind of program, where you also get to train Icon Park. And
I've heard of that
one. Yeah, we reconnected like through a photo that I took back when in that first program. And she's been really good. Helping each other's numbers and stuff has been pretty cool. And definitely in my new role, I've just picked up a role with the Footy Commission. So I go out to the schools and help run like footy clinics and stuff. And I got to meet a couple of the Freo boys last week or the week before. And it was pretty cool just to interact with them and like get a bit more what footy looks like.
No, absolutely. That's something really cool to have and have that memories too through both men's and women's as well. All the way back, as you said, to Carlton, and when Bree Davey and co were there, and then and Taylor Harris, etc. And then now with some of the Freo boys, it's obviously pretty cool and memorable, as you said.
Yeah.
Who's some teammates that that you feel like they fly under the radar a little bit, and don't get appreciated as much as they should? Now, this could be at Peel, or this could just be any teams you've ever been a part of, or even just watched opponents.
Definitely, probably at Peel. I think that Riley down from the Swans, I'm pretty sure it was, this year, and to anyone watched the track match on the weekend against East Freo. She absolutely teared it up. I think she's a little bit. Oh.
Well, keep going, Riley Fisher. Yep.
I think a little bit underrated. And then I also think that back in Melbourne, one of my friends who plays at Case, Leah Swain, she is the ruck down there. She has put so much and so much stuff in her off season, and I'm really keen to see her give it a really red hot crack this year and see how footy goes back at home.
Very good. Now, obviously, interstate trips are now something that you've had to do to move from Melbourne to Perth. Are you a fan of interstate trips in general, or was it well, obviously you said for a reason with your partner being in the Navy, etc., for part of the reason moving to Perth. But was it hard to do these type of trips in general, or was it something that you're pretty comfortable with?
I don't mind travel, so it hasn't been too bad yet. I'm actually going home on the weekend to go see family and friends, which is going to be pretty good. My partner and I, we did the drive across. We did like the Nullarbor. Really, really cool. We both love camping, so that went pretty well. But yeah, the travel hasn't crossed my mind too much, but I definitely think after this weekend going back and coming home, I might get a bit more of a concept of it. I haven't done too much yet.
That's very true. Just out of curiosity, how long did it take to travel up in the car? Because obviously Melbourne to Perth isn't the quickest one.
No, so you can do it in, I think, like 3 days, but we took 10 or 11 days to do it. So we took a couple of stops here and there, and we stayed on the Bunda Cliffs, which is like right on the Great Australian Bight, which was really cool, overlooking the water, down Esperance that way, and then all the way up through Margaret River. So being able to see different parts of the state, I think is cool as well.
That's fair. Who would you say is the best chatterbox at the club?
Oh, probably if you get her talking, I would say Crystal Carter. You can't shut her up. But also, yeah, you got to take it back to the Bilsich sisters. They're pretty much always got something to say, always making everyone laugh as well, which is good.
That's very good. Now, defenders, I feel like they deserve a bit more love, and they don't really get it as much as the other positions. So obviously with the rucks, with the forwards, obviously got the Coleman, the midfielders got the Brownlow, and even rucks are mentioned in the Brownlow these days. You know, with getting votes in the men's or women's for that matter. Just look at Max Scorn or Ali Morford in the last 2 years, or more than that. And you know, I feel like they deserve their own official title as well, like those positions have. Do you feel they should? And if so, what should they call it? Golden Fist is a name that comes to mind that the late Danny Frawley had on Bounce.
Yeah, I definitely do agree that backs don't get the recognition that they deserve, especially because at the end of the day, like they're that last line of defence. They're the ones that are stopping the ball going over the line from the other team. Like Golden Fist is pretty standard, or something to do with like the guard or something, like guard of honour, because they're guarding the goals. I don't know.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I haven't heard that one before. Guard the honour, guard the fist. I don't know, something random. I don't know. All right. So, favourite food.
Oh, my favourite food would be pineapple. I put pineapple on everything. I've had a sandwich with pineapple in it. I put pineapple obviously on my pizza. I love pineapple, like in a fruit salad. I put pineapple on everything. So pineapple.
Love it. I was just going to ask you about the pizza debate that people seem to have. I don't know why it's a thing, but you obviously love it on anything. So, and you mentioned pizza there anyway, so you obviously love it on anything. So I won't have to answer that then. Best dish to cook if you don't cook. What's something that's pretty stock standard that you would do if you don't?
We're pretty soft like taco night, so like tacos or like a Mexican bowl.
Yes.
if I could pick a cuisine, it would be Mexican. Love Mexican.
Great answer. I love that answer. And I'm hearing that a lot more in the last few weeks because I feel like I love that, but I never really hear anyone else saying it. So it's satisfying to hear not only yourself, but to hear others start to say that the last few weeks. So good. Keep that answer going. Food you don't like?
I don't touch oysters and mussels and stuff like that. They're like that's the only thing I don't eat. I pretty much eat everything else. Mum and Dad brought me up to eat it, try it. If you don't like it, then you don't have to eat it.
Yeah.
But I definitely give that credit to my nana because I wasn't allowed to leave the table unless I tried everything on my plate.
Steve, I'm not great with that type of food that you mentioned either. I mean, I can't stand that type of fish type stuff. Now, I didn't even know this was a thing until probably only a month ago, but eating snails is apparently a thing. There's no way you would try anything like that.
No way.
No, and this was a live one too.
Ooh. No,
I know.
definitely.
No, I won't name who. It's someone that just got recently drafted to a certain club, Brisbane. That ate a live snail or something like that. I thought, how could you do that?
Yeah, no, insects are off the table.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. You couldn't even pay me $1 million to try that.
No.
Not happening. Favorite takeaway place?
There's a Thai restaurant at home. I can't even remember the name now. In Alton, that's really, really good. I'd rather probably eat in, but their takeaway is really good, and they always give you extra curry puffs, and I love a curry puff. So.
Very nice to you then when you were there. Favorite music?
I'm a country fan actually, so love country music. I was lucky enough to go to Morgan Wallen and Luke Combs last year. Morgan on my birthday, which was really cool with one of my best friends, and then she was able to get tickets with the same friend to get tickets for Luke Combs. So yeah, massive country fan. And then but
Good friend then, giving you not only one but two concert tickets as well. Yeah. Game day or general superstitions that you have?
Have to wear an even number. I can't be odd. Don't like where if it's like 32, like the first number has to be either even or in the teens. So I'm wearing number 12 this year for Peel, which is fine because it's an even number and it's in the teens. So I'm happy with that. If it's an odd number or if it's like a 30 or a 50, can't.
That's fair. Now I was just gonna. Funnily enough, you mentioned that. I was actually going to ask about your jumping and you got. So you're number 12. Did you get to select the number? How was the process for that? Did they just give you the option? Did you have certain numbers to choose from? How did that go?
I was asked like what kind of numbers I wanted, and I said as long as it's even, and I gave them a couple of different numbers. But yeah, happy with my number that I've been given. Actually, funnily enough, I wear number 12, and Keely gets to wear number 21. So both the Victorians are opposite.
Oh. That's actually very cool. Now, you mentioned the odd numbers and everything, so you probably do, but I'm going to try it anyway. How important is a jumper number to you? Is it whatever, or is it something that's actually important?
It used to be a lot more important when I was younger. I played under number 24 for most of my junior career, and then I played under number 14. So number 24 is my birth day. So that's kind of like why I like number 24. Number 14, I was just given because we had like a change in jumper sizes. So I got given 14 instead of 24, and I just kind of stuck with that for the rest of my club career. And then I was lucky enough to get 24 last year at Casey. Otherwise, not too fussed by it, but even.
So you're mentioning there a lot of 2s and 4s and 1s in all those numbers that you mentioned. So you mentioned that you did care about it a little bit more at junior level. Were you one of those people, which I'm sure a lot of people were, especially around 12 years old range, go, no, I want number 12 because Nick Rewalt's number 12, Buddy's number 23. I want Buddy's number. Were you like that, or did you see a lot of people like that?
Yeah, there were a couple of girls like that, definitely. I was lucky enough that our jumper person was like one of my best friend's mums. So I'd always message, be like, hey, Zoe, what number do you want this year? I'm like, number 24, if it's available. So I was pretty lucky on that behalf. But 24, not necessarily a player, but more my birthday.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Bringing back the good old days now, thinking about that. Quirks someone would say that you have that you wouldn't really like to admit?
My partner would definitely say that I have some bursts of energy that aren't warranted maybe sometimes. Like I'll be sitting still and then I'll just start like jiggling around, moving. I don't notice I'm doing it. And he's just like, what are you doing? Like, just stop, sit still. Or if I'm like near him and it's annoying him, he'll be like, can you go sit over there? Or like, just don't do that. But nah. Or I get like a word and then that word stays in my vocab, but for a long time. So there was a couple of years ago, I would say mate at the end of every sentence, but didn't realize I was doing it. And then one of my mates at school, she was like, you know, you say that like a lot and it's getting annoying. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I had to like think about not saying it, but then I kind of grew up.
That's fair enough. I've got a few more for you, Zoe. It's a real pleasure coming on. Celebrity crush.
Oh, Mark Wahlberg. Can't go past Marky Mark.
Fair enough. And the final one's a pleasure coming on. How would you fancy yourself in front of the big sticks? And also on top of that, your dream scenario for this entire football season?
I dream scenario would definitely be if we can make finals and win the granny. I think the girls, from what I've heard, have had a rough couple of years, and definitely want to be able to bring success to the club. So whether that's like a grand final or just more wins than losses this year, it's definitely something that I know myself and as a team we're really keen on. And our team motto at the moment is like, why not us? So that's definitely something that I think we're.
That's good. And how would you fancy yourself in front of the big sticks?
In front of the goals? Yeah, hope so. hope I'm able to snag a few.
That's good. Would you say you'd be better on the run or a set shot?
Oh, definitely on the run. On the set shot, I overthink it. I lean back too much, or I jab the ball. It's too much to think about.
That's very true. And especially if you're over your maximum distance, or you're on your. So, what distance would you say you would kick roughly on an average distance?
I can pretty much hit a decent target at like 40, 45.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I can't do that. So I was going to say then, would you feel like you're more under pressure and you're more not worrying about the accuracy as much the further you are out, because you're more worried in your mind and shit, I want to get the distance in, and you're kind of throwing the accuracy part out the window because you're worrying so far about getting the distance, no matter how accurate it is. If you don't get the distance, you don't get the distance.
Yeah, it's a little bit about the distance, but for me, like, I get really in my head if the ball doesn't come off the boot right, and I have like a set routine when I mark the ball to my walk back. So if I count the numbers wrong or something like that, I'm like, oh, like it's not going to go right. But yeah.
So you count the steps or something, do you?
Yeah, so I count 12, so that equals 24. And then on that second 12, I do 4 steps on the spot, which equals 16, which is my grandpa's birthday. So that's how I count my numbers.
Very interesting. Zoe, it's been a pleasure having you on. All the best for the rest of the season, or for the upcoming season at Peel Thunder. Appreciate you coming on, and all the best.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the interview.